Hi, I'm Packard Jennings. I'm an artist and activist, and today I will be running a group with Joey Skaggs and Larry Bogad. Joey Skaggs, there's Larry back there. Larry is a performance artist and activist and teaches up at UC Davis. And Joey Skaggs is a media exposure whistleblower prankster, and I'm also do a bunch of interventionism work. And three of us are going to be presenting some images. Don't be fooled by the lack of artistry in my sign. I noticed it's like one of the least artistic of everybody's. But the three of us are gonna, probably for the first half, we'll show some images of our work and others' work, and then the second half we're gonna open up to discussions that will lead wherever they lead. Maybe it'll be
Ronald McDonald, who had fallen in love with the food of New York and became frustrated with corporate agenda of McDonald's, stepped into action of closing every McDonald's store in Manhattan. Step 1, make them mad. I know I have a pretty bad coffee, guys. I'm getting over a bad cold. I had pneumonia and the flu.
Larry Bogad.
Oh, wait, it's starting.
I'm Larry Bogad. I'm an artist and activist. I also am a professor of guerrilla theater and social movement activism at UC Davis, otherwise known as the Pepper Spray University. So
pepper spray.
what I'm trying to show today really quickly, we're going to take about 10 minutes each, and then Packard's going to talk about this website, Destructible, that our put together as almost the headquarters of the clearinghouse for awesome actions and subversive uses of art. Some of the work that I try to do is just to try to introduce an element of surprise to activism using art. I think that, and I'm sure we've all experienced, when you do the same thing over and over again, it gets boring. And just like cliche in any art form, cliche is deadly to poetry, to novels, to music, right? It's deadly to protest, and I think protest is an art form. Give it that respect. That's why we're creating a moment of surprise, playfulness, in order to create a moment of synaptic disruption. Maybe people are hanging out and instead of just avoiding you because what you're doing is pretty cliche, you actually disrupt the synaptic network with something playful and surprising that they haven't seen yet. And then you kind of earn a moment. You earn a moment to drop some insight in there, or your perspective in a way that's a little surprising. So a really quick example, I work with the Yes Men sometimes, and this was a project I wrote about half of this one. This is a fake New York Post. We mass produced it. I wrote about half of it and helped edit the rest. The whole theme of this New York Post. New York Post is, as many of you know, but not all, perhaps, it's a Murdoch paper. It's Fox News on cheap newspapers, essentially. And it has that fake populist kind of tone that Fox News has. They deny climate change, etc. So we were like, what's the New York Post we'd like to see in the world? And every piece in here is fact-checkable science about climate change, wherever possible, from right-wing sources, just to make it good for the readers. So the Pentagon has acknowledged that it's a security problem, so that makes it hard to deny it, right? The New York Police Department is preparing for a climate disaster because it's part of what they have to do, so that's a source, right? There's also some fun things in here about a bunch of clowns that I happen to be part of. We managed to promote some other things here.
The wrangling of the bull.
That were in here, but there's also, like, for example, an ad for tap water. You don't have to use plastic bottles. Isn't that wonderful? You know, it literally comes right out of your tap. So the ads are kind of playful and ridiculous. There's an ad in here for sex, because you actually, to have a good time, you don't have to burn lots of fuel and go to a Hawaiian island or something. You can just
sex
and have sex, and it doesn't hurt the environment.
That's
so there's some fun things, but it's also a lot of fact-checkable things about how we are screwed. And this is a New York Post kind of headline.
Can I have a copy of that?
We're going to buy 100 copies.
I want a copy of that.
The thing is, we give these things out for free, and then you see them for sale on eBay. It's kind of depressing. But maybe we can figure something out, honestly. This is a little more pointed in a way. This project got a lot of people. But there's also an element of transgression to it, and sometimes that right kind of transgression makes it a little more scandalous. And you get that frisson of, ooh, how are they going to get away with that? And we're prepared legally. We're prepared in many ways for it, for any trouble we might have. But the point is to get that naughty factor. The naughtiness is like, oh, then that becomes part of the story and builds it up a little bit, if you see what I'm saying. It's okay to transgress. This is a big International Herald Tribune. And the thing about the Herald Tribune, this was around the climate change. So this is the New York Times abroad, right? Again, I wrote about half of this one and helped to edit the rest. The thing that put this in terms of boots on the ground as well as being a spectacular little document, right? We're transgressing on their copyright or whatever they're in a satirical way. The headlines here are all about how this is before Copenhagen, which turned out to be a massive disappointment, as we know. We didn't know that yet. So this is a newspaper from the future. We distributed in Belgium at a pre-conference conference before Copenhagen to try to influence the people in Copenhagen ahead of time in their Belgian gathering. And it's a newspaper from the future. And the idea is, isn't it wonderful that they did the right thing in Copenhagen thanks to massive nonviolent civil disobedience? We knew the world leaders wouldn't do it on their own, but isn't it awesome that the people rose up and totally blocked the streets, blocked the bridges, shut everything down, and so we have British Petroleum. Their new slogan is not that shitty, beyond petroleum, but it's beholden to the people. So taking their greenwashing and putting it in their face. So every article here is not purely idealistic fluff. It's all about how we blocked the streets and that's how we got what we needed to save the world. And it's connected to a website where we actually got people signing up for this. So a lot of the fake news in here that I wrote and that some of our comrades wrote in secret for months getting ready for this is all about, isn't it wonderful that there was this website called BeyondTalk.net. BeyondTalk.net. You see BeyondTalk.net mentioned in here all over the place. It is a real website. You log on, you can connect with people in your area to hook up for nonviolent civil disobedience. So it's an actual website thing that we promote through the fantasia of this future, of this document from the future. If you found this entertaining, we actually did have people getting on the website, signing up for direct action. So it's maybe a model of a hybrid action between bricks and clicks, right? The clicks is the internet activism. On its own, it's not enough. Just bricks, be it throwing bricks or building structures, whatever bricks means to you. That's wonderful, but why not use the technology of the internet? I think hybrid actions, bricks and clicks together, we've got a little internet thing going on that leads to something with human beings in the same space, breathing the same air, joining their bodies together, and blocking a bag or what have you. And I think that kind of hybrid action is where we want to go. Again, this playfulness, we had delegates like government people from different governments who were on our side, took this into the gathering in Belgium because we're just giving them out for free. And some of them said, I understand that this is a prank, but this is the world we need to create. And they were like using it in their speeches, right, as a document, sort of a holy document from the future in a playful way. They got the joke and then they used it, right? So in a way, we're giving them a piece of art to work with. So those are a couple of different, they look the same, but they're slightly different structure. And this is a very simple one I'm going to show you now, and it's quick. But in the Occupy movement in the Bay Area, we have a lot of different chapters. But I was trying to think about how do I just, in a very simple way. So this is much simpler and less spectacular. But how do I add a little drama? I have all my friends are blockading the banks, not letting anyone in that day because of their horrible policies and what they're getting away with. How do I just do something that's no budget, really simple, and dramatize what's happening when the people are blocking the banks? So I tried to take a typical billionaires for Bush type approach in terms of how angry I was as a banker not being allowed to do my job from all these, because I have a real function in society as a banker, and these hippies are, doing some other things.
Thank you, Occupy Earth.
Of people. I work for Wells Fargo. I'm a banker. They're not letting me in, and I'm a productive member of society. I have a job. Hello. And
Hello.
not letting me in to do my job. And I have 63 foreclosures to process today. I have 32 small business loans to reject. That is a lot of paperwork. I'm also on the tax evasion committee because we don't pay our taxes in Oakland. That's very hard to justify, and it takes a lot of strategy. So I have a lot of work to do. These people are stopping me from looking at these people
is apparently.
I kicked them out onto the street, and then they're cold and shivering. It's sort of a Keith Haring effect that I'm going through. And that's what I do. And they're not allowing me to do my job today. It's not a good day in America.
This was in the city, right?
This is in San Francisco.
Oh, I was down. Okay.
You know what? I should have had a flip book showing that, right? Yeah. Here's a flip book I made just to show my artistic ability. So part of the thing, I just wanted to call a couple points there in the way it's structured. I know it's a quick video. I basically have done that shtick about 1,000 times that day for the media and to entertain the troops. The troops being us. So, you know, you're watching there. I would just come up and just do it for them as entertainment to crack them up a little, right? Half of them were my friends anyway. And then I joined the blockade for a while as a banker for justice. So I made a sign like, as if, so some photos got out of that of a banker joining the blockade. But also the media then covered it as if this was really happening. Some of them were, because I was like, please let me in, I have to do things. And then some of that got on the airwaves, quick snippet, not this whole thing. And then sometimes it's fun to play with the media a little. So some of them are like, so how long have you worked for Wells Fargo? And they'd be like, 25 minutes. You know, like, just, like, I'll let you in on the joke. Maybe you'll give us a couple seconds of coverage. You see what I mean? But so you can shoot. But part of this is, in the video, the first couple seconds seems a little real. I'm kind of indignant. A little bit of a Valley Girl accent there. I don't know what that was about.
Hello.
The shallowness of the indignance of, I have a job, you know. But then it gets a little more like ridiculous and a little more, and by the end with the drawing, yes, we're all in on the same joke together. I'm not trying to fool anyone. I'm a banker. So that's the way. I think it's nice to do pranks where at first you have the synaptic disruption, like what's really happening is a little weird, and then we're all in it together. There's a pleasure and a community forming basis of getting the joke together and participating. So in the same sense that, and I think I'm probably out of time, right? Yeah. Getting just about. Okay. I might just, if we show the website, yeah. So the quick thing there I would just talk about, and this is the website for the New York Post, is nypost-se.com, and you can download a PDF of it.
nypost-se.com.
You can get a PDF. It's not as much fun as the paper. And the Clown Army, finally, and this is where I'll end it. There's a lot of things we can talk about. Clown Army is a group I helped to start. I was co-founder of the Clown Army. The full name is the Clandestine Insurgent Rebel Clown Army. We were trying to hit as many predator, what's the carnivore? We were trying to hit as many carnivore searches as possible with our name and lead them to this website. But we started in 2003 in Britain, and then I brought some of those training methods to New York, and then it spread a bit around. And the idea is it's a combination of nonviolent civil disobedience training, actual clowning, and other forms of just performance art kind of fused together. And the Clown Army, with that kind of training, we formed sort of battalions or gaggles. And at our peak, we had about 150 clowns at the G8 in Scotland. And we were able to march in perfect battalion order. We actually had drills, like military drills, from some veterans who were with the movement. So that's useful. So imagine the spectacle of column after column of radical clowns coming at you. And then someone blows a whistle and we all start moving around searching for weapons of mass destruction up people's noses, pumping mailboxes, whatever. Clownarchy, you know, is just breaking out.
Clownarchy.
And creating these spectacles and then coming back into battalion order and marching away. We created these spectacles that then we were able to draw attention towards our critiques of debt policy, AIDS issues, you know, the global justice movement's issues, having earned this moment of bizarreness, right? Another function of the Clown Army, however, was also to form a sort of protective membrane between protesters and rioters. This is something that we've had, there's several iterations of the Clown Army, but that's something that I found useful during our brief existence in San Francisco, and then it kind of, people started doing other things. But there's a higher political penalty to pay for clubbing a clown on video than clubbing a Black Bloc member, right? So if you just have a row of clowns in between the riot police and everyone else, I'm not saying the clowns aren't going to get hit, but there's a higher price to be paid for the police politically on YouTube and whatever. So I found that to be a useful aspect of clowning, okay? Especially if the clowns are good. If you're actually focused, kind of funny, kind of cute, wearing the right kind of thing, it's really hard to beat up a clown. I know. A mime, maybe. No one likes
Thank you, Occupy. I heard.
But the clown. So I'm just saying these are ways to use playful surprise as part of our work. And I think we can earn moments and get a little bit of leverage using it. There's a lot of other stuff we could talk about. I know Joey and...
What's the New York Post link again? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, the link for which one?
The New York Post?
Oh,
nypost-se.com.
and SE
Okay.
stands for special edition, very special edition. My crew, by the way, gave one to Rupert Murdoch himself. That was fun.
I just want to say, I wanted so bad to be a rebel clown. I mean, I still think we should bring that back. I mean, it's not an idea that's over, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
We have to start this again. I mean, I didn't get my chance yet. Right?
And it pops up here and there, even if the original founders have nothing to do with it. So in Tennessee, 4 years ago or so, there was a neo-Nazi Klan rally. And a bunch of clowns showed up, like organized to mock them, using their own hate and predictability against them. So they were saying white. Yeah, did you know that?
White
yeah. So you're saying they knew the one line these guys are going to keep coming back to is white power. So they made a lot of jokes, visual jokes that rhymed with that. White flower, tight shower, wife power, and they had visual gags for each of these things. And you can just imagine how
That's hella
the
funny.
bubble of the atmosphere that they're doing the street theater too, which is just very intense,
Aggressive.
hateful, terroristic street theater, right? So to burst the emotional bubble of that with fearless clowning, I believe has a political impact. I don't think it's just fluff or window dressing. I think that this is part of our movement.
I have a question. Oh.
I almost brought a white helmet that I had. It says MP in 63 on the front, anti-war in 64 on the back.
That's beautiful.
That's true.
That is awesome.
Now you need
If you could make one that spins around, or you know what I mean, just because then you'd be a visually walking piece of performance art to keep telling everyone that. You know what I mean? It's awesome.
With the newspaper, I'm particularly interested because there's the Occupied Oakland Tribune, and it's not a full edition newspaper. It's one sheet, or it's like a little piece of paper folded in half, but the title of it is using the same font.
Great.
And I believe they're being sued. And so while you're saying that we have legal protection, or this, that, and the other, I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more, because I'm very interested in, I don't know if you can.
I would say that Larry will answer this, and then hopefully we'll have time for discussion at the end of it, and we can bring up anything you guys want to talk
Oh,
about.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe I would say really quick, I haven't read that. I know Name is going to get it. If it's clearly satire, you can claim protection because it's satire. If it's not clearly a parody of the Tribune, it might be too late right now. We may have to talk later. But one thing that we did, the first thing we did was a fake New York Times. Packard was involved. I was involved in Yes Men, Steve Lambert, a lot of people, right? And the organization that was incorporated to make the fake New York Times, anticipating legal reaction, was called the Spirit of Free Speech in America, LLC, Liability Corporation. Why? So that if the Times chose to sue for all of legal history forever, it would be the New York Times versus the Spirit of Free Speech in America,
LLC.
And this is what I refer to as anticipating and incorporating. You anticipate the oppressor's response. You incorporate that into your initial action, right? In other words, thinking a step ahead.
Okay.
Right? So this is already happening, so I guess it's too late maybe to do that. But if there's some way to make it clearly about free speech, about parody or satire, which may not be, I don't know. Those are some things that have worked for us real well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Great, we can get back to that too.
Okay. Thank you.
Joey Skaggs, do you want to say a word here?
Okay, let's try to do this really quickly. I began...
The mastermind himself.
Just get people to stop talking. I think that'd probably be good.
I've been creating fake news stories or ironic reversals or juxtapositions of reality or political confrontations since the 60s. And if you go to joeyskaggs.com, you'll see on the retro section there's a timeline, and you can follow. From crucifix performance to hippie bus tour to Queens, like in '68, I rented a Greyhound sightseeing bus that filled with 60 bearded, beaded, camera-toting hippies, took them out to suburban Queens, a cultural reversal, a 50-foot black bra. You'll find all the stuff later. Let's just play a piece on...
Please take a little more time.
Okay, Shakespeare said, the madman communicates with himself, the poet with a loved one, the artist with the world. If art is to communicate, which is what I believe it does, then the media is the biggest medium of communication. I use the news media like a painter would use a canvas. And I create social, political, satirical performances that are designed to get the news media. I document what happens. I have my intent, the little word with the most meaning. I follow their stories. I hire press clipping services. I collect material. It's my documentation. When they've fallen for it, when I've gone on television as various personalities and I've created personas, I then reveal the truth. And then I document what the media does with the truth. How do they twist, torque, change the intent, content, meaning of the message to suit their own agendas? And that constitutes my work. So you'll just see a piece on...
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
This video, is this the one that we saw?
No. No, it's a different one. Just hit A&E.
Waiting on the video.
I saw a profile that 2020 did yesterday. A&E special. All scam schemes and scoundrels.
No. What was it called? Scam, schemes, and scoundrels. Did any of you guys watch that last night? 2020 profile.
Now, A&E takes you through an upside-down world where chicanery overpowers truth, and there's a sucker born every minute.
A sucker born every minute.
Schemes and scoundrels. Uncover the folks behind the hoax. To the sharks and marks, plans and shams, schemes, and feel for yourself the stings and echoes of outrageous chutzpah scoundrels. World's greatest con men. How do they spin the perfect scam? Whether it's selling the Eiffel Tower for scrap, duping the public with magical mystery cures, or peddling a line of master forgeries, discover the secrets of history's most brilliant deceptions. How does the scam artist do it? Professional skeptic and debunker James Randi reveals the ingenious tricks.
This was on 2020, and Joey Skaggs is one of the ones they were talking about.
Special presentation, we'll look at the inner workings of some of history's most outrageous scams and the confidence men behind them. Now, most cons follow a very simple set of rules. The first rule is that the con artist always wins.
Scams, schemes, and scoundrels brought to you with confidence.
With confidence. Brought to you with confidence.
Today we live in a world filled with many kinds of media where the truth may be manipulated in very sophisticated ways. We expect sitcoms and adventure stories to be the product of someone's imagination, but the news...
Feeling tired, maybe just a little bit stressed? Well, a visiting New York therapist says he has a roaring good way to chase away those blues. He's trying it out in East London. Vince Rogers explains.
Just roll. This reporter thinks he's getting a scoop on a new age social therapy developed in California. He's really getting scammed. The man behind this caper is New York media hoaxer Joey Skaggs. For the past 25 years, Joey Skaggs has created dozens of fabricated news stories, all disseminated through the mainstream media. He's created hoaxes such as impoverished artists living in water towers in Manhattan, and curing baldness by transplanting scalp from cadavers. He even managed to host the game show To Tell the Truth, and invented a story that received international attention, the Fat Squad.
Fat Squad.
And the Fat Squad consists of a contract that you would take out on yourself to rub out your own fat, a 3-day minimum, $300 a day, plus expenses, and every 8 hours a new commando is with you to make sure that you don't break your diet. And we will physically restrain you with force if necessary. Our commandos take no bribes.
That was funny. I'm eating this right now.
Martha Wilcox is taking a tough new stand on dieting. No longer alone in the world of temptation, she'll have help staying on her latest. She's hired...
He is brilliant.
The Fat Squad.
The Fat Squad.
I sent this out to the media. It was picked up by the Philadelphia Inquirer and the Washington Post. They totally believed it. Made the wire services. I then went on national television and went around the world. Japanese television, German television, Italian television, French television, CNN, they all fell for it. I use the media as a painter would use a canvas. I'm a social-political media satirist. And what I mean by that is I create plausible but non-existent realities that are staged for the media.
The television and the media environment in general is reality making. But the media images, because they are so riveting and persuasive and fast-paced and frequent, serve to establish a basis upon which we define our reality, our very selves, our relationship to others. And because of that, media have great authority in our lives.
Joey Skaggs is convinced that the media's authority and power are not always deserved, and he's made a career out of proving how easy it is to fool.
I give them what they want, what they're looking for, the hook. And my work is done in a number of stages. The first stage is the hook. It's where I come up with the concept, and then I figure out how to execute that concept, how it's going to work, what I need, and I stage the event.
This is Poplar's very own Pride of Lions, indulging in their rather peculiar form of group therapy. And of course, they have their own Lion King by the name of Baba Simba. He's flown over from New York to lead the roaring sessions.
And then I document where it goes and who does what with it. I record the process of how the media interprets what I'm doing for their own purposes, what they do with it. And thirdly, I then reveal the truth. And that gets very interesting. And then I document what the media does with the truth. Do they address it? Do they ignore it? Do they trivialize me? Do they treat me like I'm the bad guy? Or am I the person with the message?
Playing pranks on the media, they don't work hard for the truth. They don't
engaged in your professional politics. You've got all these stories going on simultaneously. You're looking for leads. You got this poll. You got these apparently valid and real press releases about a news story. You follow them up. You spend a lot of time doing it. You're off back to the studio. You got to get the edit. It's got to be on the 6 o'clock and the 11 o'clock, and it goes on and on. And there's no time for engagement and reflection.
While Joey was developing his talent as a painter, he was also finding his role as social commentator and provocateur during the heady days of the 60s counterculture.
I constructed a life-size Vietnamese village portraying a Vietnamese nativity.
Because we went around with a pig.
Park on Christmas, and I had a group of actors dressed as American soldiers attack it with fake guns to protest the war in Vietnam. And there were numerous arrests that day as well. And the New York Times covered the story and said something along the line that we were arrested for littering.
Skaggs was struck by the media's ability to reinterpret events for the public and decided to try to manipulate this power. And Roman Catholics attending the 1992 Democratic Convention in New York, who didn't have time to confess, had this unusual option: Portafex, a portable confessional pulled by a bicycle. It was the brainchild of the Reverend Anthony Joseph, a.k.a. Joey Skaggs.
The hardest thing about that was designing the confessional booth. I had to have a tricycle custom made, and I had to get the priest outfit and to pedal up there and be exposed to about 15,000 journalists covering the Democratic Convention. It was awesome. They were all of me, the journalists were all of me. I had actors posing as people coming in to confess. And then real people wanted to confess, and I had a hard time keeping them out. I said I was waiting for Ted Kennedy. You were drunk, come back again. And I found myself front page news, the Philadelphia Inquirer, CBS, Fox, CNN. Everybody jumped on the bandwagon. And finally, when they called up California, where I said I was from, as this priest, Father Anthony Joseph, The Archdiocese said, what are you kidding? We don't know this guy.
I think there's a professional pride. They don't like to feel that somebody can pull the wool over their eyes. I think they're angry because they can see the more serious side. That if somebody can hoax them on something that's fairly trivial, then perhaps somebody can hoax them on something much more sinister and more important.
How do you fool those whose very business it is to tell the truth? CNN, UPI, ABC, CBS. With a fax machine and some cooperative friends, Joey has scammed them all. His skill, like that of so many great confidence tricksters, is understanding the preoccupations of his own society. He knows exactly what his marks want to hear.
It's so predictable. You can make a calendar of events. You know what the media is going to be reporting during the course of a year. You know, they're going to have the homeless on Thanksgiving. You know, they're going to, be the anniversary of Chernobyl. There's always a disaster or an event. You can predict what stories they're going to cover. So you know what they're looking for. And it's really easy to tune in that way. And you can do an ironic reversal or a juxtaposition or even a statement along those lines. And you're pretty much guaranteed that that's going to push the button that they want to hear. And that's one way of getting access to them.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder in violation
The O.J. Simpson murder trial. It was the biggest media circus of 1995, and it became the basis for an elaborate and thought-provoking media hoax. Skaggs called it the Solomon Project.
Court of the State of California County.
Posing as a New York University professor named Dr. Joseph Bonuso, Skaggs sent a letter to over 3,000 judges, legislators, law enforcement officers, legal publishers, and law schools.
Now, the Solomon Project, I said, was 7 years in developing. We had over 150 scientists, artificial intelligence scientists, and computer experts, lawyers and judges who were working on this project, and students. We were inputting all the laws of the land, both criminal and civil, into a series of supercomputers, and that these computers would be able to replace juries. I sent out a second press release saying that we were preparing a 15-city tour. We were soliciting cases that were controversial. We were going to retry them with a computer, and we were even going to retry O.J.
Then, beautifully, smartly, he throws in O.J. And we know that CNN became O.J. TV. It became the fetish of America for a while, sadly so. And so he's got all the preconditions to carry out a hoax, which is not merely a hoax, which is a critique and ultimately an indictment.
And news crew intent on interviewing Dr. Joseph Bonuso. Of course, they also wanted to shoot a demonstration of the Solomon supercomputer at work.
We got about 25 people there, and we designed bogus screens, O.J. guilty, and all this stuff that was only literally a screen deep. There was nothing beyond it. We did voice stress analysis. We could analyze your voice. You're telling the truth. You're not telling the truth. You're somewhat telling the truth. You're somewhat telling a lie. And all this was rigged, just totally bogus. When CNN came in, it's all these cameras, it's all these journalists, it's all these screens, all these computers. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment there. Well, it has to be real. And it's NYU Law School. Of course it's real.
The danger was that the crew might ask to see something that wasn't technically possible on the computer, or that the reporter would make inquiries at NYU Law School about their innovative professor. Neither one happened. The piece, complete with news desk info, reporter stand-ups, O.J. file footage, and Joey's interview, was broadcast across the country on December 29, 1995. If you didn't catch it that evening, though, you're unlikely ever to see it.
To do the last truth, ultimately is the hardest thing because nobody wants to hear it. And when you try to gain access to the news media and say, listen, we're preparing a piece and showing how this was a hoax and what it's all about, we'd like to get permission to run this footage, they say no. They don't want the public to question their credibility as an investigative news source any more than they've already been questioned. I've been on some shows like a half a dozen times. I flew CNN, I think, 5 or 6 times. Porterfest, Walk Right, Bat Squad, Bad Guys. It's always amazing to me when sometimes the same crew shows up. You know, a cameraman, a sound person from a previous hoax. So I said, this place looks familiar. There's a guy here who was making fish condoms. Oh, really? And this has happened. I've been on Live at 5 about a half a dozen times. So it's kind of frightening when you think about, you know, how
they don't even remember
they don't
who you
remember
are.
anything. They don't care. The story is more important than the truth sometimes.
The story is more important than the truth.
I don't measure my success by how many people I fool, how many newspapers or radio stations or magazines I fool, but how many people I'm able to reach with the message that we are all being fooled.
When will Skaggs strike again? On more than one occasion, he's told reporters that he's perpetrated his last hoax.
I swore that this will be the last one. Is this the last of your hoaxes? Oh, sure.
Sure.
I don't do this anymore. I've decided that I've had it with hoaxes. Too many people see my face. It's going to get really difficult to do this, so I'm going to quit.
Yeah.
Brady Skaggs doesn't break the law, and he doesn't profit from his schemes. But for those he's duped, he's a scoundrel.
He's a scoundrel. Okay, that's what this is. Scoundrel.
Skaggs may make us laugh, but he also wants us to look more carefully at the truth that we're being sold.
That's right.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry that took a little long, but I figured, you know, it'll kind of explain a lot of things. So you can ask questions after the next presenter.
Thank you. People on my stream.
Massage in disguise. I'm working on a new one. Soon.
Bottom line is the media gets duped because they allow themselves to. That's the bottom line of what we just saw. Because they're not real journalists. They're not investigating the truth.
Don't do journalism.
Exactly. Huh?
So, I'm Packard Jennings, and I'm going to show you just a few images of my work, and then I'm going to talk about this tool, this website that I developed called Destructibles, which is user-generated content, step-by-step on how to see it. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me? It's a little hard to do while operating this thing, but...
Tell me about it.
Here we go. So, I guess we'll start here.
Oh, the terrorist alert. Fictitious today.
And I made this terrorist alert sign when everyone was all in hysterics over terrorism. And it had different inserts, including fictitious, far-fetched, pineapple, periwinkle alert was one of them.
Periwinkle alert. What the fuck?
This is a sign that I made to subvert other unauthorized advertising. Like the people who do those signs don't pay for any space, and they're just out there polluting our environment. So this came out of a conversation of how do you know something is not advertising, and it has swearing is the only way you know. And that's Steve Lambert.
Hella funny. Wait, go back. Okay, yeah.
I do, occasionally I have these workstations where I allow
They
people
can
to
fix
come
your
in
back.
and they can actually check out the sign with leave an ID and check out the sign and take it out. This is a sticker that I made in reaction to stickers that were put in biology textbooks in Georgia commenting on evolution and how it's a theory. And so these are stickers I give out for free. And this title contains material on creationism, Regarding the origin of living things, material was written by normal men almost 2,000 years ago. Should be approached with an open mind and critically considered. And, so I give these away with the instructions that you keep them in your wallet. When you stay in a motel, you put them on the inside jacket.
Put them on the inside jacket of hotel Bible.
Pictures from all over the world of these Bible. And there was an article in a paper in Utah about the attack on the Christian right, and it led off talking about finding this in the Bible.
This is really awesome. I'm going to have to sit on the floor.
So this is a pamphlet. I do some of these pamphlets. This is the second one I made. And I'll show you the images, and I'll tell you what I do with it. So this guy is in a mailroom, and he opens this, and it shows you sort of step by step of how to barricade yourself into this office.
Oh shit.
Celebration begins.
You're all naked.
Now they're kind of easing into their lifestyle inside the office building.
What is happening?
This is maybe a few years later. It's basically a guide to how to create an anarcho-primitivist society within an office building. And these are produced and put inside business reply envelopes or junk mail and mailed back to the companies.
I don't get these anymore with the postage pay. I don't get these anymore. I wish I would.
Anarchist action figure. Periodically, I do shop shopping projects, and so I take this into different stores and I put it around, and I'll just show just a quick little bit of that. This was on the without my
She's like, what the fuck?
We took this to like 6 different stores, 6 or 7 different stores. I got 6 hours of video.
What happened? This is my time?
That's not ringing up.
Is one for his voice?
That's where I found it. I didn't see any others of it, though.
It's covered with this radical ideology, like all the text is really dense
I don't think this is a product we sell. What do you mean?
It actually looks like something that some G6 Summit activism just put on our shelf. I mean, it's full of political polemics. I don't think we sell this. I don't think it's a product that we sell. I think it's something that an anti-consumerist person put on the shelf.
Can I have it?
Can I have it?
Here's the only one. 6 hours of
Probably.
Awesome. Oh, man. Definitely.
Awesome.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
My brother would kill for this thing.
LOD, you copy LOD? Are you close to the lanes? Could I see you on lane 13?
Fuck, this is hella funny.
Thank you. Yeah, it's actually it's kind of die cut from plastic, not cardboard or cellophane. I think it's something that somebody's manufactured on their own, basically.
Really? Can I see?
Really? Can I see?
For particle board on the packaging. It's not a common material that will be used on anything that we would actually sell.
Look at the dog's face.
Seems like a lot of effort to go through.
It's a lot of effort to like fly to Europe and protest, but people are definitely willing to do it. And it's definitely anti-family, which is
Anti-what?
So I think that's not something we
Anti-family.
sell. The leader on duty.
Wow.
Anti-family, did you say?
Yeah, like the stuff that we sell in our toy section is like pretty kid friendly, and that's definitely not. That's pretty counterculture and not exactly.
Pretty counterculture.
With the
fires and pets and chains.
Right.
Is it the only thing that you want?
Does the product say that?
When you look at the manufacturer, it's like it's been like custom cut out of a high grade manufacturer. It's like an if it is something else. It's not in
all right, thanks. I will, I will send everyone I know to Target if you give it to me.
That's an offer. Well, you're right, offer is all good. I mean, I would like to.
Holy.
It's like not a self-respecting pro-family business in the country that we selling this to kids.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you guys. Thanks very much.
I just gave it to you.
You too.
Thank you. Were you prepared to tell them that it was yours? Give me my doll.
No, actually, I had, because it had camera equipment in it that wasn't mine inside the thing, and so I had another guy with a fake receipt for it since I knew they didn't sell it, and if it came to it, I was going to have him run up and go, there it is, yeah, and we needed to.
Okay, cool.
They get it back. But I did another project on Walmart in 2000 where I made a product line and I would actually leave the stuff in the stores.
Okay.
I just had all this camera equipment.
Inside, yeah. No, that was really cool.
Good idea, like just silk screening T-shirts.
Will you make me can I buy an Anarchy doll from you?
Yeah.
Can,
yeah, it's super easy.
You should do something like that.
There's, so I wanted to show you guys this site. It's called Destructibles, and I put this together. And this is a site of projects of protest and creative dissent.
Destructibles.org.
It's a skill sharing site, and there's no advertising on it. It's strictly for peer-to-peer skill sharing. And basically, anyone can submit a project, and there are all kinds of different projects on here, from art to activism. You go to the main site. So, for example, there's this banana thing. This is actually from one of my students. And this is a shop dropping project like the one I was showing.
Chemical.
Actually, Chiquita uses chemicals on their bananas that is harmful to the workers. So she changed the logo. And you can download this sheet of stickers from the site, print it out, and color it out, tape it, stick it on
Never douche. Do something with your time, Jesus.
This billboard, this is from the Billboard
What
Liberation.
does those leaves look like?
And this is their manual on how to alter billboards. It gives you all the tips.
Occupy Oakland.
Strategy of getting
Never
the
responds
billboard,
substantially to tweeters who call bullshit instead of gang black critics as Charles
There's a group called Crime Think that does a lot of practical protest stuff, and they've submitted a bunch of projects that are all these kind of practical things that are like how to make a lockbox for illustration. Yeah, it's like anarchist cookbook type stuff with illustrations. And they have all the steps, including strategies of like what
Destructibles.org. DESTRUCTABLES.org.
They put up something about evasion, like how to get away from a protest, which would have come in handy in Oakland the other night.
Right.
I think people did what they could, but this gives you tips and tactics on how to get away, how to not look like you're not trying to run away. So stuff like that. There's a video submitted by the Public Ad Campaign in New York, and this shows you how to, in video, how to break into these phone kiosks, take out the advertising, and put in your own or leave it empty or whatever is remove the advertising. And the whole video is up online. So it's full of all kinds of projects. There's stuff by the Yes Men, how to crash a conference. There's There's all kinds of stuff on there.
That's actually really cool. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this at an FTP soon.
So there's all kinds of things. The only real rule is that there's no weapons on here, but it doesn't have to be legal. It's called destructibles.org is the website. So, and I have little tabs that have a name on it. So I encourage you to go here, use it, submit your own ideas, your own projects if you have them. And then I think I was going to show just a quick survey of some other work, but I feel like we've got maybe 15 minutes left in our session. Maybe we should just open it up to conversation.
Can we buy anarchy dolls from you?
There was just the one.
Like, I really want an anarchy doll now. In the box. Look, I'm like, in that box.
Well, wouldn't it be fun if we could all, like, plan a little project that some of us could work together on going forward, or get started? Because I know we all have talent that we could merge. Like, I know Freshest Party's considered doing a fake Vanity Fair for one of our next projects. Yeah.
Oh, of course I want to be a part of that.
Because I want to write about beauty and luxury items and all the things. Because I do admit I like Vanity Fair. I read it, but I'm also outraged too. Like, De Beers, diamonds, ready-made suits, fashion article. Well, yeah. Some, we have the, certainly the graphic ability and whatever to do one of those. But I don't know. But that's not necessarily the project. But if other people have ideas of a cool project too, maybe Fresh Juice can join in with music or this, and we could make an even, collaboration even bigger.
Yeah. The thing you say about sort of attraction and repulsion is, I think I certainly live with that in my relationship to capitalism because we're so immersed in all of this stuff that's constantly trying to make us desire it. That's what a lot of the language that I'm using and a bunch of other people are using is taking that desirability and flipping it around. And interesting. I think that's a great idea.
I mean, you could, advertise like, and the advertising would be the best part. I don't know whether it would be like fake rings with no diamonds. Or
the other thing you can do is, I've shop dropped things before into magazines and books and whatnot, and you can make just a single page for Vanity Fair. It's in a very findable spot, maybe next to like a little perfume insert page that always flips open to. And you make a really nicely produced single page, and then you just allow people to download it, and then you go. Anyone can print it out, go to a store, put it into a Vanity Fair or whatever other magazine they want to.
On the diamond issue, one of the fake ads in the New York Times was a sale was one of these diamond things, and their established ad was like a happy male and female hand, and you just gave it a ring. So the replacement ad was on the same style. Here's a hand, and here's an artificial limb, and it's like we're going to use our diamond profits now to replace the arms of all the children and civilians who are losing their limbs because of diamond wars in Africa, because we realize that that's our fault, and we're going to, right? So maybe there's along those, I'm just throwing that out there, that could be part of the thing.
Yeah, no, I like your ideas better than mine. That's kind of why I like
Yesterday,
to the
a really serious issue brought up about the run-up to the war, some kind of conflict with Iran, the way they did with Iraq. And I'm not creatively right-brained enough to figure out how you could create a hoax that would bring people to the fact that they're being duped again into another war. They're being tricked again to go to a war, just like we had the run-up with all these lies about why we had to go to war with Iraq, and how now they're doing the same thing, and we're like little lemmings eating it up again, and all the powers that be are keeping them wrong. But I don't know how to hoax that. I'm not an artist, I'm not a lawyer, so I defer to people who have that talent.
But there's a very fertile deposit of soil for this kind of thing on Iran. The media is off the boards.
strike Iran before they get a nuclear weapons capability, okay? No longer are we going to wait till they get a nuclear weapon. So there's real fertile stuff, including stuff from the other side. Secretary of Defense Panetta asks himself on Face the Nation, are the Iranians constructing a nuclear weapon? No. PBS excises that in reporting the rest of his remarks. Last but not least, and I mentioned this yesterday, the Israeli Defense Minister, okay, 18th of January, Israeli Armed Forces Radio, he's asked, what about these reports of Iran making a nuclear weapon? Answer, we believe that Iran has not decided yet whether to start working a nuclear weapon. Well, question. Well, once they decide, how long will it take them? Answer from the Israeli Defense Ministry. It doesn't matter. They can't do it without kicking out the UN inspectors. They haven't kicked out the UN inspectors, so we know they're not doing it. If and when they kick out the UN inspectors, come around and ask me that question, maybe a year and a half, This is the Israeli Defense Minister. I got it on tape. Has it been in the press? No. The press is just so damn Iraq, it's the Iraq reprise. So the material is so rich, and the opportunity is actually so critical that we do this before they, our president doesn't have the initiative here. It's the Israeli leaders who do, Netanyahu and Barak. Okay, so before they do that, and I think the chances are better than even now that they will, and we will get sucked into it, we need to do the kind of scoop that would really go viral and get people thinking, are we being had again? Didn't this happen before, just 9 years ago, exactly 9 years ago? So I'm just hopeful that maybe we can kind of brainstorm here with brains more fertile than mine on this kind of thing and come up with something that would really...
Yeah, you could have like Barack Obama with like, I love my iPhone. And
Hi.
Iraq.
I understand me in the air.
Oh, there was a thing about the Iraq.
okay.
Have you seen that spoof?
Yeah, I did a spoof. It was years ago.
The Iraq is unstable.
Yeah, there was a spoof on it years ago that would have been more timely now, and it was like, and soon we'll be bringing you the Iran.
Yeah, before the Super Bowl, okay, Barack Obama gets on the TV and he says, my primary interest is the defense of the United States and also Israel. Same sentence, Just a little comma if you want to put it in there, okay? That's outrageous. Then he says, we have decided on Iran we are going to march in lockstep with Israel. You know where that expression comes from?
Nazi.
Do you know where it comes from? Well, no, it comes from U.S. prisons after the Civil War, where blacks were put on such chains that they couldn't, they had to march one right behind each other. So, there it all is, and it's just so transparent, and the rub, of course, is, I keep saying, the fawning corporate media won't touch it. They're agitating for war like they did back 9 years ago. There's got to be some more imaginative way to...
Excuse me, can we keep some sort of organization? Because my arm is killing me.
I was just wondering if, since we only have a limited time with some of our experts here, rather than planning an action, we might focus on some of their expertise. I was wondering, it seems to me in a lot of the parody and pranks that you're doing, there seems to be a very fine line between going too far and how do you come up with where you draw your line? Yeah, especially towards some of the stuff that you do. Like, how do you not go too far, but how do you go far enough that you know that they'll bite?
I try to make sure that I do things that I'm proud of, meaning that I don't do things to rip people off for money. I try not to break the law. I try to stay out of jail. I look at the intent, the little word, the most meaning. All art to me has intent, content, technique, and magic that makes it live, but it lives by itself. So I have a criteria that I stand by. I try not to put anyone in harm's way. For example, I wrote about this a long time ago.
Well, what I was asking more is, like The Onion, for instance. It takes satire and parody similar to what you do, but it's obviously unbelievable most of the time. You read it, and it's... How do you know how you don't go too far, that you get the networks to bite?
You never know if you're going too far or not. Just make sure that you don't want to push. Oh, I know what I'm saying. Say, I wanted to do something about the article, so I wanted to, I called it the bowel movement. My first piece was called obstruction art. And I wanted to make a giant tuna fish or a fork or a tampon, put it in the back of a flatbed truck, up, 6 or 8 of my friends in the Lincoln Tunnel, the whole truck, during rush hour, toss it off. And then I would divert all the traffic, using lines of traffic, and they'd have the police, the fire department, the tow truck, and I'd have a camera crew on either end, and I knew that that would make the 6 o'clock news, and it was an obstruction. But if someone had a heart attack, if there was fire, I would be ultimately responsible. So I take great pains to be considerate and know that there are consequences. I'll use the word again, consequences to action. So I try not to do things that would put people in harm's way. I don't mind putting myself on the line. I don't want to endanger the lives and well-being of other people. So that's my criterion. And if we break the law, and that's fine. I don't damage personal private property. I think that it's really easy to be an idiot in being an anarchist. But I don't think you have to. I think that being an artist, as we all are here, is a huge difference between breaking a window and creating something. So I'm more into the creation and the destruction. I think that if you change minds, you don't break objects. So that's just my criterion.
While we've been looking at the newspaper publications and things of that nature, I'm very well aware of the fact that advertising is like what many Americans fall prey to, and so I was thinking about like some spoof advertisements, but like instead of advertising the product like anti-advertising, like yes, I mean I know it's hypocritical of me sitting here with an iPad, but yeah, like buy the new iPad 2 because more women in the Congo need to be raped for 10 tungsten tantalum. Like, you know what I mean? Like, most people are not aware of the fact that America's a very technologically driven country, that we run out and buy cell phones and tablets and all these other gadgets, especially as streamers, is something that I'm constantly conflicted with myself. And then I know that I'm contributing to the rape and the murder and dehumanization of women in the Congo to get the minerals required for my motherboard to be made without it work without it overheating. Meanwhile, America has these same the biggest mineral deposits in the world, but we don't mine ours. And China has a stronghold over it. So it's like, while we're increasing the dehumanization and rape in the Congo, then we use the fuel we're killing everybody for, fly it over to China to increase a whole bunch of human rights violations, to use more fuel to fly it over here to pay a corporation. So I'm like, I think advertising, because it works so well that we all have a lot of these products, or we're all at least knowledgeable about them, like could anti-advertising, because people don't read shit. They're advertised to. They watch TV and they look at billboards and they look at, at 5-second advertisements or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Were you part of the anti-advertising agency?
Yeah. So I guess one of the things about what you're saying is that there's a great book called Dream by Stephen Duncombe. If you guys want to check it out, it's amazing. But it's about how reimagining politics in the age of fantasy, and it's about using stuff like what we're doing, art, to inspire people and to create a spectacle that counteracts the spectacle of advertising that you're talking about. And I think we have the potential to, we're all keyed into how this language works, and we find it desirable and it's obviously effective. So how do we use the same strategies of desirability, but we're actually selling something that is real, that is tangible, that we're all here to fight for? Like, how do we use that same language and really resonate with people in that way, but have a back into it instead of this empty promise of fulfillment through a product? Like, you actually have like real social goals and change for the betterment of humankind.
I think part of it is tapping into desire and acknowledging desire.
What's the last name?
Duncombe.
acknowledge the existence of desire, and it's not a shameful thing to have desires, but what are those desires, and what are progressive or radical ways of addressing those desires? So if people desire to feel like safe, well, okay, I mean, that's human, I understand that. The current model, we feel safe by dominating everyone around us, right? So what would be the radical way, the humanist way, progressive way to have this, to address this need for a feeling of safety? And then how do we explain or express that, we've got an answer to fill that desire, or for pleasure, right? All of these things, right? The desire is there, so to fight the desire is a losing battle. To say we have a better, more sustainable, more joyful way to address those human desires, that's, I think, a winning kind of. That's a little abstract here, I know, but advertising's abstract.
Right.
The signifier and the signified have no connection in advertising. It's like, you want to be happy and have nice children, eat some McDonald's. You're like,
Right.
There's no connection. How did you do that? Because you just put them next to each other
Right.
in a 15-second ad. So so understand that it's irrational. It's a juxtaposition of images. So what do we do that fits our ethics and our values, but at the same time works with the power of the image?
About desire, I thought a few years ago, like, what do I really want? Because I noticed that I never really prioritized what I really wanted or felt that I needed. Because, like, I wanted to be smart, I wanted to be successful, I wanted to be good looking, right? But really I thought, no, you want to be loved, and you're doing all these things trying to be loved. But if I have, like, the best outfit, the best looking, I'm here in my Mercedes, nobody's going to love me. They're going to be like, bitch,
Depends on who your friends are.
Right.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if those people really love you either. But, yeah, I mean, I felt like all these things I'm trying to do to get love are not getting me love.
Right.
So that was just a thought about my own desires. I've been questioning them. And I think Cosmo is about wanting to be loved, but they're telling you all the wrong advice.
If I could quickly draw it back to like sort of some of these examples we talked about, it's like there's a question of honesty, authenticity, and pranks, right? And you're like, hey, that was a lie. And actually, one way that the right addresses some of these things is like, that's what the left does. They lie. See, this is not a real newspaper. That's not a real dog bordello. You're like, well, it wasn't supposed to be. But the distinction being, if what our opponents do is put a lie out into the world and leave it there.
The lie, that our lies, is really the message. The message is we are being lied to. So we use lies to bring attention to how we're being deceived.
And we deliberately set a fuse on our lies so that and then it blows up, right?
And the difference is we always reveal the truth.
Exactly.
We reveal the truth.
The artist uses lies to tell the truth.
That's right.
And our lies are, and even just to be more specific, like as Joey just said, like we don't leave the lie hanging out there so that somebody thinks whatever. The New York Post is acknowledging climate change. Our point is that they're not. So we will tell them that it's a problem. So I think it's okay to be playful, and that may involve some playful, artistic, even deception is like evanescent, disappearing deception.
When we were kids, we play games. They felt real.
Yeah, please.
To experience.
This another session is about to set up here. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm getting commentary that you three are brilliant on my stream.
That's very kind.
I would love to work with you guys at some point in time. I don't want to be on the butt end of it, though.